and welcome to Lexington, Kentucky. On a warm afternoon, now evening, the first day of March yields the last home game of this season for the red-hot Kentucky Wildcats, now ranked 23rd in the country. Vanderbilt's in town. It is a rematch of a game that was played just 36 days ago. Big Blue Nation proved victorious in round one, 69-53. What happens tonight? We're about to find out. The standings tell the story. Lo and behold, how about a surprise? The Commodores have won 6 of 7, in position to make a late run, and Kentucky, well, the Cats have won 4 straight. It is senior night. He's Professor Mark Wise. I'm Roy Philpott. Two teams playing some high-level hoops at this point in the season.
Who knew 2 weeks ago that this game would become a resume protector for Kentucky, and for Vanderbilt, perhaps a run to the postseason starts right here.
All right, we've got a sensational matchup in the interior, beginning with Liam Robbins for Vanderbilt.
Well, Robbins is a 7-footer who can knock down the occasional three. The offense runs through him in the half court. He can score over either shoulder, but his secret ingredient is his ability to draw fouls and get to the free throw line. He does it a lot. Oscar Tshiebwe continues to do Oscar things. We almost take for granted the double-doubles. What I really like about Oscar's game is how well he is shooting the ball facing the basket. I think, Roy, the 2 best bigs in this conference, Robbins and Tshiebwe, this will be fun.
Oh, the wise choice. You love the graphic, you love the name, and the numbers are awfully impressive. It's not just the best bigs in the SEC, but 2 of the best in the nation. We mentioned it's senior night, 6 seniors honored pre-game. Tell you more about that as we go deeper into the night. In a series that Big Blue Nation has dominated. They've won 14 in a row. Vanderbilt's last win at Rupp all the way back in 2007. It's been a while. And by the way, Rupp Arena is bumping as you would expect in the final home game of the year, Coach.
Vanderbilt has not won here in Lexington since that 2007 game, as you mentioned, and like most teams in this league, Kentucky with a big series advantage.
Cats have won 4 straight. Vandy 6 of 7 underway. Kentucky in the home whites. Vanderbilt in the road blacks. SEC tournament starting next week in Nashville. We can't wait for that. And this matchup tonight with Liam Robbins now healthy. He did not play back on January 24th. Promises to offer drama. CJ Frederick in the starting 5. Launching the mid-range. No. Toppin the rebound. And he was fouled on the way up. Coach Cal, year number 14. And I tell you what, he was loud. He was coaching hard this morning at shoot-around, the 3-time Naismith National Coach of the Year.
He talked to us about walking that fine line of coaching his players hard and yet still trying to pick them up. In that very first possession, Kentucky doing Kentucky things. 3rd in the country, according to Kim Palm, in offensive rebound percentage, only behind UConn and Purdue.
Foul was on Thomas. Toppin 1 of 2. Cats strike first. Ezra Mignon in the starting 5 for Vanderbilt. In addition to Colin Smith, Trey Thomas, Robbins, and Lawrence. Second time that Jerry Stackhouse has utilized this 5. The first time, their last game against Florida. Smith top of the key, no. And tapped out, it'll stay with the Doors. Well, Brendan Canada got the start tonight, the senior, former walk-on. He was awarded a scholarship on Christmas, and one of the local heroes. He just checked out for Antonio Reeves.
I'm a little sad he didn't get a shot.
You got to get a shot if you get the start. First career start. Show you the starting 5 officially in a moment. Thomas, no. Tshiebwe the rebound. And there's Canada. Tshiebwe, Toppin, Wallace, and CJ Frederick now healthier. 7 minutes the last game after missing 4 straight. Trying to get his sea legs back under him, right? Second shot on as many possessions. Too strong. Tshiebwe the rebound.
Long shots, long rebounds for Vanderbilt. All 5 must be involved on the defensive glass.
Frederick again. Smith has it for Vanderbilt.
That was a great look. Frederick only shooting 30% in league play from bonus lane.
And Lawrence off the glass. Commodores with their first bucket.
Lawrence is kind of crafty in the way he can score.
Reeves off the bench. That's a 3. No. Tshiebwe the rebound over Robbins. clock under 10. Antonio Reeves, past Thomas. Reeves, up and in, and a chance for three.
Overcommitting defensively on the closeout. You have to do that against Reeves because he's so deadly at the arc. But that time has an aggressive mindset, absorbs the contact, and then gets the kind roll on senior day.
Transfer. Illinois State. 79% on the season. The foul was called against Magnon, his first. Cats lead at 4-2, just underway in Lexington. First of two games tonight on the SEC Network. Got Mizzou and LSU coming up when we're done here in Lexington.
Both these teams, Roy, are more positionally based defensively. What I mean by that is neither team takes away a lot. They don't force a lot of turnovers. They don't block a lot of shots.
Wallace picked up the foul. Magnon had a chance for three and somehow missed the layup. And for Jerry Stackhouse, year number 4, well, the attire doesn't suffer at any point in time, does it?
No.
Dress of the nines again, Coach Stack.
I think this has been a real difference maker when Magnon went back to the starting lineup. In the last 7 games, he's been simply sensational as a point guard. He's the #1 guy in the league assist-to-turnover ratio in league play. He's got 70 assists, Roy, and 15 turnovers. That's a stupid number.
It's efficient, right?
Oh, my goodness.
Tied at 4. Cats really seized control about 10 minutes into that meeting in Nashville. Again, no Liam Robbins. That certainly assisted matters. Curious to see what the big man matchup looks like today.
Don't you kind of feel like both teams are feeling each other out?
Certainly do. Toppin the rebound off the Thomas miss. Well, Vanderbilt's had some impressive wins. Tshiebwe, the fake and the finish. Big fella getting it done early.
It's all about facing and the ball fake. Watch the ball fake, Robbins bite. This is where Robbins has got to understand his value to the team. This early in the game, let Tshiebwe finish there. The foul is much more important.
He told us that today as well. We talked with Liam Robbins for an extended period, and he said, you know, it's important for me to live to play another defensive possession, if you will, and defending Oscar. Easier said than done. 3 the hard way for 34 and white on senior night.
And both of these bigs are excellent at the free throw line, over 70%.
You love that as a former coach, right?
Oh, absolutely. Bigs who can make free throws can play for me all day long.
Robbins with position and the flush.
Now, Kentucky worked on that at their shoot around today because they wanted to make Robbins go baseline, but the double was way late in coming.
You go back and look at Robbins' production over the last 10 games or so. Really, nobody's been better in the SEC. He's been a double-double machine. 22 and 10 over the course of that period. Tshiebwe, 17-footer. Well, I tell you, that shot's in the repertoire this season.
It is almost automatic. He must have made 6 of those in the road win at Florida.
Double team on Robbins against Oscar. Try to get it back. Pops out to Wallace. Cats by 3. Livingston blocked. Boy, hit the deck hard. Robbins came down as well. He's grabbing the bottom part of his calf. And a timeout will be called. 3-point lead for Kentucky. Welcome back inside of Rupp Arena, and Liam Robbins moments ago landing awkwardly on that right ankle, and it turned inwards, if you will. So certainly something happened there that prompted him to exit the floor moments ago during that timeout.
Here's another view. It's his right foot. You can see it kind of fold in just a little bit there. A lot of feet in a very small circle. And there's a look at Robbins being escorted off.
One more time.
Now Robbins missed the first meeting. We told you about that. Tshiebwe, another double-double, one of 16 this season. Toppin also with 12 and 10.
Roy, I think that bottom one now becomes even more paramount for Vanderbilt. They're going to have to win the three-point battle. It was even when these two teams met earlier in the season.
Certainly, given what we saw last night, it's Zakai Ziegler going down for Tennessee. We found out today a torn ACL. It's done for the season. The talented guard for Tennessee. You hope Robbins is able to find a way back in this one. Quentin Malora-Brown inside the bucket, 9-8.
Bonus points, QMB.
Livingston against Lawrence. Shot clock at 7. There's Wallace. Tshiebwe on the offensive glass. And Lawrence lost the rebound on the box out of Livingston off the miss.
For Vanderbilt, you better know where 34 in white is every shot. Oscar averages in the SEC more than 5 offensive rebounds per.
Reeves the floater, yes, 11-8.
So Reeves, the three-point sniper, we've already seen him attack the rim, and now with the short mid-range jumper, expanding his offensive repertoire right in front of us.
5 minutes in, Robbins remains in the locker room. Mignon takes off. Reeves clears. Now Kentucky has moved from out of the NCAA tournament, according to ESPN bracketologist Joe Lunardi, to the bubble 2 weeks ago, and now firmly in the dance, which is a big talking point around these parts. We certainly could feel that energy today at practice. A foul was called on Mignon. That's his second.
So here's doubly bad news for, or double bad news for Jerry Stackhouse. He's lost his 5-man, and now his point guard has a couple of fouls.
Smith and Thomas also check out. Paul Lewis comes in. Mignon with the 2 fouls, as coach indicated.
Now
Lewis, quick breather.
Excuse me, right now Lewis was pretty good in the first game. He had 7 points.
Lob to Toppin and a foul on the floor. Veteran officiating crew here tonight: Byron Jarrett, Doug Shouse, Keith Kimball. Studi picks up the foul. He just checked in 5 seconds ago.
We saw Kentucky work on that little out of bounds for the lob to Toppin at their shoot-around today.
You felt the difference in energy today compared to previous times we've had Kentucky?
I thought there was a difference in 2 ways. One was Cal's coaching his guys hard, and 2 was the focus of the players. They were not there at shoot-around very long.
Livingston for 3. Tracked down by Lawrence. And a foul called. Lawrence, a penetration. Refuse to lose was the motto the last time we had the Cats. That was the road game at Mississippi State. A close game in Starkville. Bulldogs currently on the right side of the bubble, according to Joe Lunardi. That was a nice win. Lewis has it. He'll retreat outside the arc. We heard a little bit of that today. I mentioned it to Cal. He kind of laughed. He said, "You like that one, don't you?" I said, "Of course, Coach." Jordan Wright for 3, and we're tied.
Right, just 30% on the year from bonus land, but he was wide open on the throwback.
6.5 minutes in. Toppin the mid-range is money.
I think Jacob Toppin, Troy, has become the player that everybody thought he could be, and now he's doing it on a nightly basis.
Lawrence up and in. Used the rim as protection that time.
Again, 2 teams that are much better offensively this season than they've been defensively.
So that's against the norm in the conference this year, right?
Correct.
Tshiebwe the mid-range. In and out. Livingston. How How much better has his game gotten in the last 3 weeks?
I think he's made such a quantum leap because he's learned to play with others, and I don't mean that in a selfish way. Most big-time scorers from the AAU world, from the high school world, don't understand how to move without the ball, how to share the ball. He's learning that.
4 on the shot clock. Lawrence forces one up. Yeah, Cal said it today in talking with us. Not everybody operates on the time frame that they anticipate coming here.
The staff said they've spent a lot of time with Livingston in the video room trying to get him to slow down.
Reeves, nothing slow about that shot. Tshiebwe tried to rip away the rebound. Lawrence corrals the pass. Cats with 8 second chance points so far. Vanderbilt with none, with Robbins in the locker room currently. Lewis, no. Studi got it back. Swatted away by Livingston. Reeves wide open. Now, Coach, we just received word as well. Liam Robbins, a lower leg injury, questionable for his return tonight.
Lawrence is just beating everybody off the bounce. That's a shot Vanderbilt in this game has to make.
I thought Livingston got there in a hurry and maybe bothered that release from Miles Studi.
Don't you love the pace of the game?
Outstanding. Tshiebwe. That just dropped in the breadbasket for Lawrence. Left-handed finish again. We're tied.
Well, he is so good in transition. His ability to slash, understand angles, very impressive.
Now Vanderbilt has withstood that early senior night punch, it feels like, Coach. See if it lasts, minus Liam Robbins. Toppin for 3. And a push off that'll go against Chris Livingston.
For Vanderbilt, they're going to need people to step up in the absence of Robbins. So far tonight, Tyron Lawrence, the left-hander, the nifty finish off the window.
Not your normal senior night for Big Blue Nation. 6 seniors being honored. You saw Antonio Reeves, C.J. Frederick coming in from Iowa, now healthy. Jacob Toppin, tremendous career he's enjoyed. And Oscar Tshiebwe, the consensus unanimous National Player of the Year a season ago. Xavier Wheeler also was honored, as was Brendan Canada. Wheeler not here tonight after having a minor procedure this morning, not related to his current ankle injury. So in his place, Coach Cal's wife, Ellen, made her triumphant return to the court and did a great job representing Xavier Wheeler. We hope Xavier's doing well this evening.
You know, as a native Kentuckian, I fought the urge to stand on my old Kentucky home.
I thought you were going to. You told me that you were, but you did not. And with no explanation. Good start in this one, tied at 15. Questionable Liam Robbins to return to this one. The lower leg injury happened about 4 minutes ago. Commodores have it. Already seen 4 ties tonight. When you think about senior night here, you think about all the one-and-doners and not players that have been here for 3 or 4 seasons, right? That's a different feel.
Right. And who knows, as you were talking about, who knows who will be back next year?
That's the other question, right? All 6 could technically come back to play, including Oscar Tshiebwe. We asked him about that today. Is that not a shooting foul?
Well, they cannot go back and re-officiate the play. They could be looking at a timing issue. Here's the impact of Robbins being out. Quentin Malora-Brown needs a backup now. They don't have Lee Dort available, so already we're seeing Malik Dia in the game.
Dia went off against Kentucky in the first meeting in a very big way. Really kept Vanderbilt around in that second half. A couple of deep threes. It's a second personal on Reeves.
Well,
the arm comes up.
Yeah, that's what they're looking at. Jordan Wright's right arm. Was it excessive? It was certainly high enough.
Don't forget, coming up as soon as we're done here in Lexington, Mizzou and LSU. Tigers versus Tigers, 9 o'clock Eastern from the PMAC. Here on SEC Network, also on the ESPN app.
Roy, how about the job Dennis Gates has done in Missouri?
Incredible. Is he the coach of the year?
He's my coach of the year. As of today, if I were voting today, he would be the guy.
Mizzou picked near the bottom of the SEC standings, now going to the NCAA tournament. And they're fun to watch. It's a totally different style than what we've seen in Como in recent years. You tell me what you saw on the replay. Do we add to this?
This is a fine line because there's no question that Wright uses his right arm up high. I think that is a better view for all of us. I wouldn't be shocked if this isn't a flagrant one. It's not that part, it's right there. The shoulder was okay, but when that elbow continued to go into the jaw of Reeves, if you will, he's okay there, but it's that second action.
If the foul is called on Wright, does that change the foul on Reeves?
No, two separate things. The foul on Reeves will stay. So what they have to now adjudicate is, are you shooting free throws on both ends? So it would be 2 for the flagrant one, and then back to live action with 2 on the shooting foul.
Get the official word as Jerry Stackhouse talks with Doug Shows. Coach Stack not lacking confidence coming into this matchup, talking with us this morning and the media in Nashville this week. And the official verdict being levied as we speak. What is it?
I was almost correct. They are going to shoot free throws on both ends, but because there was a flagrant one involved, then the team that was offended in the flagrant one gets the ball. So Kentucky will get the ball after shooting free throws on both ends. So look for Wright to shoot 2, look for Kentucky to shoot 2, and then the Cats will get the ball out.
Jordan Wright coming off the bench tonight, 73% at the line. He'll get one more.
How many games have we done this year? A lot, right? I don't know that we've seen free throws shot on both ends this season. Now, they've done away with some of that as it relates to technicals and flagrants. If you have them on both ends, they kind of offset. But what we have is a shooting foul on one end and then a dead ball flagrant, or not a dead ball, but a flagrant one.
So a brief chance to hold the lead for Vanderbilt. Reeves already has 6 tonight. Doors maintain that advantage, but now Kentucky basketball. I like it when you sort through all the madness. One-point game, high-level hoops. Thiero on the floor for the first time, 3 in white. Working against Paul Lewis, only played in 17 games this year.
Thiero will also crash the offensive glass for Kentucky.
What's been the biggest difference you've seen? We talked about Chris Livingston and how he's emerged, the unselfish nature of his play. There goes Tshiebwe. How about the penetration? Lost the handle. What else has changed in your mind?
I think they've had the same group playing together for a while, and they've only been at full strength 13 games. You can go back to the very beginning of the season when Tshiebwe was out for a month. I don't think most fans understand how disruptive that is. And from a practice standpoint, college players get better in practice, and Kentucky's had very inconsistent practices in terms of who's available.
Top of the runner, poked away from Tshiebwe. Thiero!
Second chance opportunity again for Kentucky.
Just his 8th made field goal of the season. Lewis. He'll get it back. That's a 3. Dia the rebound. The first time we've seen 23 in black in a while.
Kentucky got chasing defensively and got in a rotation they didn't like. See, that's the kind of play by Livingston I'm talking about, Roy. Earlier in the year, he would have driven that out of control to the rim.
You've been right a lot tonight. The professor ringing true. Frederick for three. We saw him for 7 minutes their last time out in the romp over Auburn. A big three for his confidence here tonight.
You have got to know who you're guarding if you're going to go under the screen.
Right with a path, unable to finish. And here's Toppin. Boy, he was smashed, no whistle, out of bounds, back to Vanderbilt. And it's a 6-0 run for the Cats. Provide this 4-point advantage.
Kentucky getting a couple of points from unlikely scenarios. First, it's keeping the ball alive, Thiero, and defensively, you cannot go under the screen. Frederick, too good of a three-point shooter.
Peter Burns, thank you very much. Talked about Kentucky's improvement over the course of the last, let's say, 2.5 weeks, and they've won 4 straight. The net rankings have been bolstered. And what else do you like?
Well, what a difference 2 weeks makes when you look at the quad 1 wins. Now, Kentucky won 3 quad 1 games in the last 2 weeks. Then they got a break because Texas A&M went inside the top 30 of the net, which gave them their 5th quad 1 win. You never want to see Lenardi on the bubble where you are listed as first 4 out. 6 seed. Yeah, you can live with that. Remember when we did the game 2 weeks ago? What did we say? If you're Kentucky, you just want to get in. Well, now if you're Kentucky, you want to be greedy.
From a coaching perspective, the difference, let's say, between a 6 seed and a 5 or a 4, how significant is that?
Well, first of all, I've always rather be the 6 seed than the 4 or 5 because then you're bracketed with a 1 seed and you eliminate that possibility. Is there any difference? Do I have any statistical data to show that that works? No, but my own brain says you don't want to be the 4 or 5.
So you're telling me Kentucky fans watching right now, you're going to want to stay
at
6 unless you can get in there as a 3 or a 2.
Yes.
Okay, right here in Lexington, Mark Wise, Roy Philpott. Commodores have it. Nearly stolen
for Studi, and it was open.
Dia on Tshiebwe. And a foul over the back. That's against Vanderbilt. And that'll go on Colin Smith.
I like the aggression by Vanderbilt on the offensive glass. They've got to answer Kentucky with some second chance opportunities. There's the foul. Kentucky already 10 second chance points. Almost half of their total points.
In the bonus for the final 7:35. Toppin back to the stripe, 63% on the season, 1 for 2 tonight.
That looked short from the get-go, didn't it? That's an area he should be better in. That's 63. He shoots the ball too well. That should be 73.
Commodores haven't scored in 3 minutes. Deep 3 by Smith. Toppin clears.
Boy, there was a great exchange with Wallace and Tshiebwe defensively there, not to get beat on the middle pick and roll.
21-17. Kentucky in search of its 5th win in a row. Vanderbilt's won 6 of its last 7. Wallace high off the glass. Tshiebwe had it for a moment. Who has it now? It's Smith.
Those are important 50-50 balls for the Commodores in this game.
Studi a deep 3. And Tshiebwe will save it behind the back. Wallace corrals it. Well, after a brilliant offensive start, it's kind of gone to a screeching halt in the last 3 minutes. Stuck at 21-17.
I love the effort by both teams. I'm not sure about the execution right now.
Lewis Big shot in the mid-range is there from 15.
Pretty confident play by a freshman.
Well, you mentioned the injuries for Kentucky. Vanderbilt, Paul Lewis had the concussion, then had the flu, missed a bunch of time, and he was highly recruited. High expectations this year. It's taken him some time to kind of figure things out.
This is way too slow in developing. Way too slow.
Frederick, past Thomas, lost it. Dia comes away with it.
Give
and
it
a
up.
chance to tie. The big man traveled. That was either a violation or the biggest Euro step in the history of Euro steps.
Take another look. Here's the rule of thumb on a 2-on-1. Give it up and get it back. Dia just fell off balance trying to do the Euro. Was that a half Euro?
I was going to ask you, when's the last time you've done the Euro? Has that ever happened?
If I did that now, I would be so in the jar for the next week with bad knees.
You got knee surgery coming up, don't you?
I do.
2-point game. Frederick off the screen. He'll step in, shoot it, deliver it. Foul was called, and let's see. Basket's good, the shove is as well.
This is just not a smart foul by Lawrence. There's no reason to move your hand into the shooting area. Here's a better look. Let Frederick shoot a tough two and make it. If he makes it, you go okay.
(24-19). That felt like a big possession and an enormous shot.
I was just about to say this feels like a danger zone for Vanderbilt to me.
Lawrence against Collins. The skip pass to right. About 5 pump fakes. And the finish.
How could anybody keep up with that defensively? Great patience that time by Wright.
One possession gain. Wallace was bumped.
And it was also great patience defensively by Ware. Hands up, hands up. Just one extra pivot was better than Ware's patience.
Castle being the double bonus after the next foul. Quentin Malloy-Brown just picked up his first. Still no sign or word on Liam Robbins questionable to return. Cason Wallace at 75% at the line. He'll get one more.
Wallace, who is the point guard with long minutes right now. No Wheeler, so that means Wallace will probably play 33, 34 minutes a night at the point.
Have you sensed that he hit that proverbial freshman wall at any point this season?
I did a little bit until the Auburn game the other day, because he went for 19 and had 9 assists with 4 steals. If he ran into the wall or met the wall, he ran right through it.
Maybe he did that riding his four-wheeler in Texas growing up. He loved to do it. Turnover. We asked Cason Wallace 2 weeks ago, what's the most Dallas, Texas thing about you? He said, really? I said, yeah. He said, man, I grew up riding four-wheelers. I love to do it. I love to do tricks on them. Like, be careful, Cason.
Didn't you ask him about falling off or something? And he said, yeah, that's the exciting part. You have to jump off at the right time.
He said something about flips and four-wheelers, and I just said, uh-oh.
Don't tell Cal.
Right. How about a three? Not that time. Collins. QB has it.
Vanderbilt had zone for the first time, a little 2-3.
How different is Vanderbilt without Robbins from what you've seen so far?
Completely. I would like to see Kentucky have a more concerted effort to get the ball inside.
Malloy-Brown, no, but he was pushed. Collins, it's a late whistle, but the right call from our vantage point. Collins picks up his first, under 4 immediate timeout. And Malloy-Brown shooting free throws when we return. 26-21, senior night in the Commonwealth. Back. Professor Wise, he wants to know what's your most memorable March moment. And speaking of March, Vanderbilt Commodores, they've got a chance to go to the dance as we take a look at Embrace the Ebb presented by Regions. A win tonight, a win at home in Nashville against Mississippi State Saturday night. And you're saying 2 in the tournament next week in Nashville.
We'll get them in the conversation. Because you have to remember it also depends on the other teams around you.
Significant.
It's very significant.
The bubble changes all the time.
And to answer Fish's question, I was a young assistant coach at the convention in Albuquerque the night that NC State shocked the world with the Lorenzo Charles put it back. Derek Wittenberg still wants an assist.
He wanted the SEC
put
moment.
Jimmy B into folklore.
He wanted the SEC moment.
Yes. So I was there that night, and I was watching as Jim Valvano, we all remember that image of him running around on the floor looking for somebody to hug.
It's one of the great 30 for 30s that ESPN has done, in my opinion. You have to watch it like on Selection Sunday to get you ready for the tournament. All right, but what about in the SEC in terms of SEC teams in March Madness?
I was part of the coverage on the radio side when Florida won the back-to-back 06 and 07s. So you would have to say that. I can tell you one thing, the 06 title was a lot more fun than the 07 title for everyone involved with the program.
Toppin left open. Pops over to Collins for the easy bucket.
You can see everybody on the Vandy coaching staff showing both hands, meaning make sure you grab rebounds with both hands.
It's the fundamentals here in March, right?
Vandy's going to have to figure out a way to get some three-point shots.
Thomas heard you, couldn't finish. Pops out to right in a fresh 20.
Good tap out by Colin Smith.
Commodores just 1 for 9 from distance. Lawrence tried to change it, couldn't do it. Tshiebwe another rebound. Well, Oscar with 5 points and 9 rebounds already. Collins going to work. And a 3-second violation.
Take another look at first the Collins putback. Ball gets pinballed around. Nobody's able to gather. Collins, right place at the right time. But did you see, Oscar, how far out he got the last rebound? His ability to rebound out of his area code is so impressive.
Georgia certainly remembers after the 24 put up last month, or now 2 months ago. It was 37 points and 24 boards. Jordan Wright, a skip pass and an open look. Big 3 from the corner for Colin Smith.
That's a great job by Wright, who recognized he had to switch with Tshiebwe. Help had to come. Made the extra pass.
2-point game, 2 minutes to go. Kentucky's largest lead came at 5. Vanderbilt led 17-15 for about 5 seconds. Wallace up and under, silky smooth.
He plays with such a maturity about him. Does not get rushed.
Lawrence, swatted into the second row. Oscar was there.
Take another look. This is rim protection. Tshiebwe not really known as a great shot blocker. Timed that beautifully.
Is that a height thing where he's undersized playing down low? Another 3. That's by Jordan Wright. And it's a 1-point game.
The genesis of all great upsets. And Vanderbilt winning at Rupp would be a great upset, especially without Robbins. Starts and ends at the three-point line.
Commodores just 3 of 12 from deep. 2 have come here in the last 2 minutes. Wallace open for a brief period. Commodores can grab the lead here.
Much better job by Malora Brown, but you cannot play giveaway.
Outlet was intercepted by Toppin, the runner. 2-on-1. Lawrence tried to slam it home right with a putback, and Vanderbilt with a lead. John Calipari on the floor and not happy.
He's not happy with Toppin. It has nothing to do with the miss that Toppin had in transition. Here's the three off the out under. Toppin just kind of runs into the screen there. But it's no follow-up. Everybody thinks Wright is going to make the dunk. He doesn't. And there is Wright with the putback. Meanwhile, Kentucky flat-footed on the floor.
So Lawrence missed the dunk. Wright was there to clean it up. Vanderbilt leading. How surprised are you?
Without Robbins, a lot. But Vanderbilt and Jerry Stackhouse, everybody in the league has great respect for the offensive scheme that Vanderbilt runs. Every coach that you talk to in terms of guarding Vanderbilt knows they're in for a long day, and it requires great communication defensively. Commodores
lead Kentucky. Cats back in the top 25 as of this week. 31-30, 52 seconds to go. If you're Cal in that sequence, what do you think he just told his guys?
Well, more effort, better effort, and he better have told them go 2 for 1 here.
We don't see the 2 for 1 in college the number of times we should. You've been banging that drum since I've known you. And now that time has come and gone. Lawrence with a steal. Shot clock is off. And a timeout called by Jerry Stackhouse.
Just a wonderful effort by Lawrence, who knifed the handoff. Frederick was trying to come off a dribble handoff. Watch Lawrence knife in between, knock the ball loose, be the first to the deck. You're usually rewarded, and Vandy was.
You know, Lawrence added 18 pounds of muscle in the offseason. Go back to the Tennessee game, the three-pointer at the horn, trailing by 2. You go back to that moment, and it feels like that's where things started to change. We asked Liam Robbins about when he thought things really shifted for the Doors. He said it was actually the game before that, the 57-point blowout in Tuscaloosa. It was a wake-up call, and you can go back and look, and since then, they've been a different program.
I think Kentucky says that, too, with the Arkansas loss here at home.
Amazing what a setback can do for you, right?
Nobody likes to be embarrassed. And when you get embarrassed on the court, you tend to come back with a little bit different mindset. Your paradigm shift better happen.
Wise words from the professor tonight on senior night.
Now, Kentucky, here's another thing we don't see in college. Kentucky has a foul to give. If this gets down to the last 5 seconds, why not give a foul?
Magnon back on the floor with the 2 personal fouls.
Watch Magnon to get a screen. He's going to try to play downhill.
Now it's Lawrence. Shot clock is up. Magnon gets it back. Somebody's got to go. Quinn Malloy-Brown for 3. Are you kidding me? 0 for 2 on this season for 42 in black. It was all net from the top of the key.
They tried to do a little lob to Lawrence. The defender went under. Malloy-Brown shot that ball like he shot 57,000 threes on the year. Nothing but the bottom.
A stunning turn of events at the end of the first half. Welcome back here at UK. 34-30 our score. The Vanderbilt Commodores scored the last 8 points of the first half, and here we are with 20 minutes to go inside a Rupp. Mark Wise, Roy Philpott. Take a look at our first half highlights, and it took a while for Vanderbilt to get going, but once they did, well, they really picked up the pace late in that first half.
Well, sadly speaking, Vanderbilt had bad news early as Liam Robbins went up in a defensive posture, came down, had a lower leg injury, and was out the rest of the half. That allowed Kentucky to flex its muscles down in that high rent district for second chance points. They had 12 of those, whether you're talking about Livingston or Collins being in the right place at the right time. But the half ended on this Quentin Malloy-Brown 3-ball. The first career three-point shot made by Brown as a result. Vanderbilt with the 4-point lead.
Jordan Wright was also rock solid off the bench, 12 points, 2 for 2 from distance. Oscar 5 and 9, kind of doing Oscar things as you talked about. They're going to need him more in the second.
Well, here's what I'm looking at if I'm Coach Cal in the locker room. A lot of guys shot 5 times in the half. Reeves shot 6. I think Kentucky will make a concerted effort to get Oscar touches early and often.
Vanderbilt has it to start our second half. Commodores trying to get back in the good graces of one ESPN bracketologist, Joe Lenardi.
Peter Burns, Damian Fishback, and Patrick Young called off the bench as we have a little audio difficulties out at Rupp Arena. 38-35, another big basket fish for Doors.
Yeah, Lawrence has come so far. I remember speaking to him earlier before the season started. Coach Stackhouse has believed in him, and you can tell his efforts and work ethic has certainly paid dividends.
Of course, waiting to see the latest on Kason Wallace, who was a little bit banged up just moments ago. Drive down to the lane. Doors another rebound, Patrick Young.
The Doors just still are stepping on the gas pedal, understanding that they can't allow Kentucky. Oh, look at that. Oh, great finish. How about Malora Brown? A guy that doesn't get a lot of great minutes, isn't relied on offensively. His impact in the game without Liam Robbins has been the X factor.
Been game changer, and it looks like an energy situation here too, Fish. I mean, 43-35. This is something that Oscar Tshiebwe talked about earlier this season, is where were they going to find this energy? Oscar Tshiebwe even pleading to Coach Cal about, hey, where can we find that kind of little spark? And it's Vanderbilt that has that spark right now.
Yeah, it's the team that's motivated. You think about a Kentucky team that played its best basketball versus Auburn in the previous game, and you think about their motivation right now. They know that they're secure in the tournament right now. So the question is, what are they playing for? They need to be continuing to play to get better, because we know there's championships that are expected at Rupp Arena.
Looks again, once again, an offensive foul. Take a look and see if Quentin Malora-Brown, yep, outside the circle.
Outside the circle. I mean, he's just etching his name all over this game with his impact right now, and that can't be replaced. That's why I agree with Pat Bradley when it comes to block shots versus charge. A charge just means more. Not only does the possession change, you put a foul on the opposing player.
Feels like it means a little bit more for Vanderbilt right now. 9-point lead, 16 minutes. Your reason why you're listening to us here on the call, little audio difficulties. I guess everybody was fired up in Rupp, and maybe somebody bumped the buttons down there. So now you see Kentucky trying to get back into this, Fish, and trying to create a shot right down low. Remember, no Liam Robbins in this game. Going to be a foul on the floor. Liam Robbins being banged up with that ankle injury. More coming back up from Rupp with the Doors up 44-35 over the Cats. Welcome back. A little Wednesday night basketball. Peter Burns, Damian Fishback, Patrick Young on the call. We appreciate everybody hanging with us right now as we're experiencing some audio difficulties at Rupp Arena. As soon as Mark and Roy are ready to go, we'll get you back out there live. But right now it's Vanderbilt 44-35. And Fish, you look at this, 1 of 11 for Kentucky as the band trying to get the fans back into it. They were 8 of 13 beyond the arc over on Saturday against Auburn. A difference maker. Now with Kason Wallace a little bit banged up, where's that offense going to come from?
Yeah, I think the answer is easily got to be with Oscar Tshiebwe for Kentucky on that side. With Liam Robbins being out of this basketball game, and Quentin Malora-Brown is probably one of the more underrated players in the SEC. Coach Jerry Stackhouse talks about him all of the time, but the bottom line is Oscar Tshiebwe should have his way, but his teammates have to go to him. I think the other teammates are kind of falling in love with their play versus going where their bread is buttered.
Reeves out to Livingston, another miss. Malora-Brown with that rebound, and Doors just looking in control here, Patrick.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, Fish. The ball's got to go inside to Oscar. I didn't like his positioning there, staying at the free throw line. Quentin Malora-Brown is as great as a player he is, team guy. He has no chance of defending Oscar one-on-one, so Kentucky's got to get the ball into him. It'll open up so much more for this team.
Drive to the basket, and another tough bucket ends up having the score. Now 46-35, Doors up 9. Basket and the foul appears to be on the floor there, Fish. Antonio Reeves with the tough one.
Yeah, it looks like they signaled that it was a flop call, but Tyron Lawrence once again just playing exceptional basketball, the mobility and agility to get inside. You'll notice that Vanderbilt, as much as they can, they'll try to put Oscar Tshiebwe in ball screens as well to try to see if they can use their foot speed with their guards and make Oscar Tshiebwe recover.
Once again, we appreciate everybody's patience. Audio difficulties at Rupp Arena, so calling this back from our SEC Network studios. And now you look at Reeves with that flop. That's what we're talking about. So ends up being what? As it a tech? How does that work there, Fish?
Sure. So what he has is one free throw, and now Vanderbilt will get the basketball back, something that officials have been really focusing on this entire season. They're trying to get flopping out of the game of college basketball. You've got so many young players that try to emulate the NBA. I think the officials have done a good job of calling that. A great officiating crew on hand tonight.
Yeah, but it's quite interesting how difficult that is for them to make that call with the number of charges. It's got to be so difficult for the defender with the number of charges that are being called, and you don't want to get called for this flop as well.
Yep.
It's being an official in college basketball is one of the most difficult things in sports.
46-40 Livingston with that monster dunk, trying to get the Wildcats on the break, looking to push the tempo just a little bit, get the crowd back into it. Down low to Tshiebwe, and hard foul from Quentin Malloy-Brown. Quick with the helping him up, but a little bit more juice there in Rupp Arena now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it starts on this defensive end, right? You got a nice job of Livingston getting out, and that's where I think Kentucky has improved the most. I heard Jay Wright talking about this on CBS, and he talked about the fact that Xavier Wheeler going out of the basketball game really allowed the length of Kentucky to be much more demonstrative. And you think about Wallace, who's actually out with that ankle injury. He's at about 6'4", but their wings are 6'5", 6'6". I think that's where they can improve even more and continue to get better and start scoring more offense off of the defense.
Tshiebwe missing that free throw, was a perfect 3 for 3 from the line. And now you've seen 46-40.
Quentin Malloy-Brown, this is his third foul now. Let's see how Kentucky's got to exploit that mismatch. Have to, especially with Quentin Malloy-Brown being in foul trouble. If he comes out, who's the next guy in line? Definitely. If Quentin Malloy-Brown's at a disadvantage, the guy below is going to be an even greater of a disadvantage.
Yeah, especially with no Liam Robbins in this game.
Is it just me, or does Pat Young, Ron Slade, Joe Klein always want the answer to be getting it to the big man?
Traditionally, and that works right now, especially with it. Doors, Kentucky on a 6-0 run right now, right after Doors. Great pass down low. Block foul, almost the and one.
And there it is.
Toppin taking advantage. That appears to be the fourth foul on Quentin Malloy-Brown. Gentlemen, we were just discussing it about how aggressive the Cats would be. No Liam Robbins. Of course, for those missed, he hurt that ankle early. I believe some choice words there for Quentin Malloy-Brown.
Well, and I think Patrick was spot on. Jacob Toppin is a difference maker for this Kentucky team, guys. In the last game, his ability to knock down the three-point shot when he's able to take his time separates Kentucky because he puts it on the floor. He's really good at his mid-range game. He's athletic. If he could do that as they get into SEC and NCAA tournament play, I think it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, Fish. I think what was hurting Jacob Toppin, maybe the scouting and the reports that he needs to become a better shooter, took him away from his strength and ability of just being almost unguardable with his athleticism, his slashing ability to get on the glass, to knock down that mid-range. He can knock down the three, certainly can, but he doesn't need to force the fact. There's so many things he brings to this team, and they certainly need him here moving forward.
Jordan Wright with the turnover. He had been such a big part of that first half. Wildcats on the run, quarter three coming up short. Tshiebwe, another aggressive basket, another touch in the paint for the Wildcats as we see just what we were discussing, Fish.
Yeah, Malik Dia, who's replacing some of those minutes of Liam Robbins right now, is really having to learn on the job. Oscar Tshiebwe, those pause when he gets his hand on the basketball, it makes it so tough. And for Malik Dia, he's a freshman out of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, 6'9", 240 pounds, number 23 in black for Vanderbilt, but nothing has really prepared him for the likes of an Oscar Tshiebwe.
That's good size. That's good size for someone to hopefully try to slow Oscar down a lot, but you know, freshman against veteran experience, especially a Naismith, the reigning player of the year, that's a lot of learning in a short amount of time.
Well, think about this.
Masterclass.
Oscar Tshiebwe is potentially, I believe he's on pace to score more points than any other player in the Calipari tenure at Kentucky. And you think about the great players, so that tells you two things. Oscar Tshiebwe has played outstanding basketball, but what it also tells you is that Kentucky, even though they've had a lot of great players, they don't stay there. A lot of them go to the NBA.
9-0 run right now for the Wildcats over the last 90 seconds and a couple 3 turnovers in the last 3 possessions for the Doors. Again, listening to Peter Burns, Damian Fishback, Patrick Young, calling it from our SEC Network studios. There's still some audio difficulties out at Rupp Arena. As soon as we get that fixed, we will get you back out to it. Then Jordan Wright, big-time 3 to answer.
As Mark Wise will say, when the ball touches the paint, it just opens up and creates a disadvantage. Jordan Wright was standing wide open by himself. If Vanderbilt continues to attack the paint, Kentucky should take a page from that book. It's going to open up so many opportunities for good looks.
Right, a perfect 3 from 3 beyond the arc. One of 6 threes that they make now. Toppin trying to answer? No. Another big rebound. Oscar Tshiebwe, monster bucket there to Livingston.
Yeah, Livingston, who didn't get a lot of playing time in that Auburn game, has really taken outstanding strides. SEC Player of the Week. I think that he and Wallace both are just taking huge strides for this Wildcat team.
Kentucky, despite making that 3, so only 2 of 14 from beyond the arc. Doors doing a good job. A little spin move and 1. Oh, my goodness.
That was filthy.
Tyron Lawrence with a filthy move. And every time the Rupp crowd appears to be getting back into it, Fish, all of a sudden the Doors make something that kind of quiets them.
Well, as a shooter, no matter how good of a shooter you are, as you see Reeves come up short on that play, nice rebound by Wright. It's a difference between taking a comfortable shot, and when I say comfort, meaning pressure, game pressure. Vanderbilt right now is keeping solid game pressure on the Wildcats.
Dia misses that 3-pointer, 51-47 right now. Again, we'll try to get you down to Rupp Arena once we get those audio difficulties situated. But right now, the Doors with a 4-point lead, looking to play spoiler to the Cats' winning streak down in Lexington.
And in the meantime, a fantastic basketball game with Vanderbilt putting Kentucky on upset alert.
You saw what I wrote down earlier in this game in terms of setting up what needed to happen for Vanderbilt. They had to be, in my opinion, plus 10 or better in 3-point differential, which means they have to make at least 4 more threes than whatever Kentucky makes. And right now, Vanderbilt's made 6, Kentucky's made 2. You do the math, that's plus 12.
We have 2 injuries to update you on. Liam Robbins left in the first half. He will not return with what appeared to be a lower leg injury. Meanwhile, for Kentucky, Wallace with a lower leg also still being evaluated as of the last media timeout. He went off the floor limping about 5 minutes ago and is yet to return. We will see what happens there. 11:30 remaining. Commodores lead it on the road at Rupp by 4. Tshiebwe double teamed. They'll whip it over to Reeves. Lawrence clears.
But I like that execution-wise. Make sure Oscar gets a touch. And to your point, Roy, Frederick runs the point now for Kentucky.
Quentin Malloy-Brown also has 4 personals for the Commodores. Ezra Mignon has 3. Lawrence has been a story. He turns it over here.
Tried to thread the needle. Tshiebwe read the pass. Ball's got to go inside. Tshiebwe had him on his back.
Toppin against Studi. Now Reeves on Dia.
Credit Vanderbilt by always having a body on Tshiebwe, but the ball's got to get in there.
Malik Dia for 3. And a foul called on Jordan Wright. That's his second.
The way Kentucky is having so much trouble guarding Tyron Lawrence, I don't think they need Dia shooting these threes.
Cats in the bonus for the rest of the half.
That is a big deal. Kentucky with only 2 team fouls.
Chris Livingston 7 points tonight, his first free throw. And now we'll get the bonus at 80% on the season for 24 and White. You talked about how much you love his improvement the last month or so. One of 2. Lawrence a rebound. Well, Tyron Lawrence, 15.6 boards, a dime, and a steal.
I think the ball's got to get in Lawrence's hands some way and let him create.
Studi to Dia. It was deflected.
Boy, what great hands again by Tshiebwe to be disruptive. Deflection, such a huge part. I thought Tshiebwe kind of saw that play coming the whole way.
Shot clock down to 4. Lawrence finally saw it. Oh, and he drains it with a bounce. First it was Quentin Malora-Brown at the end of the half, and now Lawrence at the buzzer of the shot clock that time. And the ball just died on the back iron.
Well, you would never get that at the carnival. Here's where the ball's got to go.
Big man back to work. How about that finish? 11 points, 13 boards. Vanderbilt 7 of 20 from deep. And Lawrence passes it right to Livingston.
That deal wasn't there.
Frederick for 3. The outlet. Lawrence. Patient finish at the rim.
Again, I didn't like the quick shot by Frederick. Understand where your bread is buttered right now.
Vanderbilt's led by as many as 11. Here's a steal by Studi on Toppin. And he was fouled.
Vandy with a response with everybody. Watch how dead this ball falls into the rim. Unbelievable. And then on the quick run out, Lawrence, fearless. Kentucky has really had no answer for zero and black.
20 points tonight for Tyron Lawrence. Miles Studi at the line, he's 68% there this season. Yet to score tonight. Led the SEC in three-point shooting last year. Solid 38% this season. And the lead back to 7, Coach.
And with the lead moving to 7, I like this move by Jerry Stackhouse to get Lawrence a breather. Both coaches shorthanded.
One of 2. It's the first miss of the night at the stripe by Vanderbilt, now 8 of 9.
Thiero now at the point, but he dribbled and didn't go anywhere.
And that went right off of Thiero's leg, right towards us. And Jordan Wright hounding number 3 in white that time.
Watch Thiero just dribble but not go anywhere. Loses the handle. Wright was right there.
So Jordan Wright, Vanderbilt's best offensive weapon on the floor currently. He's got 15 tonight. Studi has 1, Lewis has 2, and that's it as far as the 5 on the floor go. Lewis well off the mark. And a foul called. Tshiebwe was tapped from behind. And it was Lewis. He picks up his first. Tshiebwe shooting free throws when we come back, but the Commodores, the story so far in Lexington. Our Mayhem moment brought to you by Allstate. The difference in this game tonight, 2 threes by 2 unlikely candidates, if you will.
Unusual to say the least. First, Quentin Malora-Brown makes his first career 3, closing out the first half. And then late in a possession, watch this 3-ball by Lawrence. Just hits the flange and kind of dives right into the rim. And because of that, as you mentioned, that's 6 points. That's the difference right now.
57-50, Vanderbilt with the lead in Lexington. Mark Wise, Roy Philpott, so glad you could join us tonight. And Quentin Malora-Brown, he's living right. He's got 4 fouls, though.
I think when he comes back in, he needs to think about a heat check.
I don't think Jerry Stackhouse agrees with that. He's going to have something to say to you the next time he sees you about that comment. Tshiebwe at the line. Cats are in the bonus. And every shot critical at this point in time.
Boy, it seems to me like when Kentucky runs their offense, Tshiebwe might not be open initially, but they've got to have more patience to allow him to repost, run the offense through 34 and white.
"13 points, 15 boards. Lead down to 5. Ezra Mignon back on the floor with the 3 fouls. He's been held in check tonight. And bumped by Thiero.
The foul is on Thiero. That's his first of the team's 4.
Just the 4th team foul called on the Cats. Now, we mentioned the importance of this one really for both sides, but for Vanderbilt, a wise point made by you.
Yeah, it's a what if. What if they can win here? What if they can beat Mississippi State, win a couple in the SEC tournament?
Big possession for the Cats, 7.5 to go.
Thiero forced into minutes here down the stretch of a tight game.
And we were just informed that Wallace will not return. The lower leg injury. More free throws for Oscar.
So Oscar goes, okay, you're not going to run the offense through me. I'll go get it myself.
The foul is on Wright. That's his second of the team's night.
So Jordan Wright picks up the foul. Don't forget, coming up as soon as we're done here, Missouri and LSU from Baton Rouge. 9 Eastern right here on SEC Network. Also on the app, Tigers from Como currently in the field according to Joe Lunardi. And Mark Wise told us earlier in the first half he believes Dennis Gates SEC Coach of the Year. We shall see.
One could make the argument with what Buzz Williams did in terms of turning his team around at the Christmas break, starting the 2 bigs together. The development, the emergence of Wade Taylor IV, how good has he been?
You and I got in a big debate yesterday about Wade Taylor and Boots Radford and all SEC honors. Pick your poison there in College Station. The lead down to 4. Cats just 2 of 16 from deep. Tshiebwe's getting it done at the line. You have to think 5 in black has to get more involved offensively at some point tonight for Vanderbilt to hold on. Shot clock under 10. Mignon bottled up for a moment. Good defense.
Good defensive patience that time.
Reeves is open. That's a 3. And it's a 1-point lead.
If you're Jerry Stackhouse, you've got to think about getting Lawrence back in the game.
Jordan Wright was fouled. Livingston can't believe it.
Take another look in transition. Kentucky has really struggled at the arc, but Reeves, their best 3-point shooter on the year, 42%. All great shooters have to have amnesia, don't you? In terms of not worrying that your first 5 didn't go in.
Wright, 2 for 2 at the line, now 3 for 3.
Boy, how good is this? Has been the best game Jordan Wright's played in a while.
And you mentioned Tyron Lawrence. He's back on the floor after an extended hiatus.
But Roy, look at the lineup. This is 5 guards. It'll be interesting to see who runs the 5-man spot.
I think it's got to be Studi.
It'll either be him or Wright. 5 guards. Who's going to guard Tshiebwe?
Studi will give it his best attempt. Reeves off the screen.
But again, slow down. Everybody's trying to score in the first 15 seconds of a possession. You've got a mismatch inside.
Third on Reeves, the offensive foul. Stute drew the charge. Cats trailed by 4 at the half. They've trailed by as many as 11 in the second. It's down to 2. Under 6 to go. Lawrence was so quick and nimble.
And he goes either direction. For a left-hander, most left-handers really favor going left. This time, Lawrence goes to his right and just goes into the chest of Livingston to attract the foul. Smart play. But how important, Roy, was getting Lawrence a breather on the bench. He comes back in fresh.
His career high is 22. He's at 20 points tonight. Vanderbilt 9 of 12 at the line.
Do you think Jerry Stackhouse thought he would be playing this lineup tonight?
No Liam Robbins. Quinn Malloy-Brown with 4 fouls. Short answer is no. Tshiebwe knew that was off the mark, racing after the rebound. Stays with Kentucky.
And this is where Kentucky has to understand Oscar needs to operate block to block right now. If he's going to shoot the mid-range, that's going to be to Vanderbilt's benefit. As you take a look at Oscar with the extra effort.
59 to 56. Cal wants to talk things over, and a good one here in Rupp Arena. Jordan Wright, awfully impressive tonight, Coach, with 16 points.
Well, he's made 3 threes. He's been creative down there block to block, giving Vanderbilt actually an advantage in points in the paint, which shocks me. That's down this 3 ball from the corner. Jordan Wright, in his last 4 games, Roy, had a total of 15 points, and he's coming off the game against Florida where he didn't score.
We talked to Jordan Wright many times this season. He wants to be an NBA GM one day. Had the internship last summer at Nashville's Super Speedway. Able to follow around the president of the track over there and learn so much, and has a really bright future, but tonight is a really special basketball player.
Again, if you're just joining us, Robbins gets hurt early in the game. Case and Wallace gets hurt. Kentucky already playing without Wheeler. They're down to their 3rd string point guard. Vanderbilt's down to their 3rd string, 4th string 5-man.
Jerry Stackhouse still as cool as the other side of the pillow tonight. I don't think I've seen a single change of facial expression with the sharpest dressed man in the building.
All world shoes Jerry Stackhouse is wearing tonight.
You asked him how many he owns, and he said too many.
Yes.
We got you, Coach.
And I'll be shocked if this ball doesn't go into Oscar.
Approaching 5 minutes to play. 1 possession game. Jacob Toppin. Now Frederick, still time. Well, Tshiebwe was held, and the whistle finally was blown. That'll go against Stute.
So you have to credit Vanderbilt. They're running Tshiebwe inside. But watch Stute just grab Tshiebwe, pull him out of the way. So what can you do when somebody's fronting your big man? Ball reversal. And have your big guy go from block to block.
Tshiebwe with the clear size advantage.
I think there have been times where Kentucky is trying to get too much, too early on one side of the floor. The ball needs to get to the 2nd side, the 3rd side.
Right at his season average. He's got 16 points and 16 rebounds. The lead down to 1. And Rupp comes to life once again.
Tshiebwe guarding Jordan Wright.
Mignon lays it in.
But why did that happen? Because Tshiebwe had to go out on the floor to guard Jordan Wright.
Tshiebwe against Studi. Throws the pass out of bounds. Livingston was open for a moment in the corner.
Right side of your action, you'll see Tshiebwe out. That allows a driving lane for Mignon. Finishes off the window.
That looked like the genesis of the same game-winning play at Tennessee. Thomas thought about it. And here's Lawrence. The Hezzy. Jordan Wright. How about the fake and the finish from downtown? A little deep sauce for number 4 in black.
Great offensive patience by Vandy. Poor defensive patience by Kentucky.
And Tshiebwe crashing down. He was pushed from behind. And Studi again the guilty party.
This is almost not fair in terms of trying to block out Tshiebwe.
Coach, it feels like Kentucky's made about 7 or 8 different runs in the second half. They've gotten the lead down to 1 possession every time Vanderbilt has responded.
3-point differential.
8 of 22.
Up to plus 15 for the Doors.
Oh, your math was quick there. That was good. 8 of 22 versus 3 of 18 for UK. One more for Oscar. Playing perhaps his last home game here at Rupp. He was celebrated as part of the senior night festivities. But all 6 of the Kentucky seniors could have the option to return. 64-59. And a double dribble on Mignon, and he knew it. Boy, a mental mistake there cost Vanderbilt.
Bad time for this to happen. Unforced. Mignon was going to give it up. Changed his mind. How about Toppin running the point now?
Aggressive spin, the push. 2 free throws coming.
The difference maker tonight for Vanderbilt, the scoring of Jordan Wright. Late in a possession, don't panic, show the ball. The step back 3, Vandy's made 8 of them, trying to pull up the upset.
Tell you what, Peter, what a league, what a season, and an incredible couple of games tonight back here at Rupp Arena. Vanderbilt a 5-point lead, less than 4 minutes to go. Mark Weisroy, Philpott, and the foul troubles mounting up for both sides.
Yeah, it's interesting to note that Jerry Stackhouse has opted to leave Jordan Wright on the floor with his 4 fouls, but he hasn't brought Quentin Malora-Brown back in. The reason I think he feels like he's got a mismatch with Tshiebwe on the floor in terms of him guarding out on the perimeter. And by the way, I wanted to ask you, because of what we're seeing tonight here, the other game, what month is it?
Welcome to March. Starts to mean a little bit more. A couple of big free throws coming. Jacob Toppin. Last lead by the Cats, 30-29 with a $1:36 to go in the first half. And you mentioned during the break, both teams right now playing with lineups that they're not used to being playing with at this point in the game.
Maybe have never practiced with. Here's what I'm talking about. Tshiebwe has to guard Wright out on the perimeter.
Studi wants to post up Chris Livingston. Thomas for 3. Well, that whole possession felt out of rhythm.
Got in like that 3, way off balance.
Quinn Malora-Brown getting set to check back in. 64-61.
See if Kentucky can be more patient to get Tshiebwe a touch.
10 to shoot. Toppin on right, between the legs. Tshiebwe the rebound, and the flush. 1-point game.
Maybe that's part of the offense. Just get the ball up on the rim.
Jordan Wright, blocked by Tshiebwe. Cats in search of the lead. And Reeves bumped on the floor. Cats are in the double bonus.
Tshiebwe getting it done on a different way. First, the offensive putback just reaches over everybody, averaging more than 5 offensive rebounds per league game. He has far superseded that number tonight. But he's also impacted the game defensively with his second block tonight.
Tied. Malore Brown checks back in. Miles Studi goes out. Magnon just picked up his 4th foul. So both he and Jordan Wright with 4 personals.
But what a gallant effort by Studi, matched up with Tshiebwe.
And Malore Brown off of his shin. Keeps it from going out of bounds. Tied at 64, and here we go.
I think I'm going to get Lawrence going to the rim somehow.
Shot clock down to 6. Magnon, the fadeaway, and air ball.
Outstanding job by Livingston defensively.
Intercepted by Magnon. Thomas has it, and Vanderbilt will slow things down. And Jerry Stackhouse tells Doug Shows, I want to talk about it with my guys.
Such a nice play by Magnon to anticipate the pass to Tshiebwe. Sneaking right in, right there. It's like a defensive back stepping in front of a tight end.
With Jerry Stackhouse, you talked about his sets. We've talked this season about his plays coming out of timeouts, and he draws them up as well as anybody. Vanderbilt at 9-7, trying to win its 7th game in 8 tries. Cats have won 4 straight and in position to be a 3 seed next week in Nashville. If you're Jerry Stackhouse, what do you want to see coming out of this timeout?
I think Vanderbilt's been at its best tonight when they've done a lot of weak side screening. So the action goes to one side of the floor, but then there's all kinds of things going on the other side. And when they've been able to do that, their offense has been better than Kentucky's defense.
Both teams with 2 timeouts remaining. Cats in the double bonus. Vanderbilt, the 1-1. We thought this one could be good. We thought it could be competitive. I don't know we thought that it would go down like this.
Well, no, not with Robbins going out early in the game and then Wallace going out for Kentucky. Take a look at this. Now, I count any game that goes into overtime as a game decided by 5 points or less. Vanderbilt's been really good, and they've played in a lot of them.
Cats 4-2, Vanderbilt basketball. Oscar Tshiebwe has 20 rebounds tonight. 7th time that's happened in his storied career.
It's a great matchup between the 2 zeros, Toppin and Lawrence.
Right to Thomas for 3.
What a great set, though. Quality look.
Trey Thomas 0 for 7 tonight. Has not scored in this one. And a timeout called by the Cats.
We talked about all the weak side action. Thomas comes all the way around. He sets a screen and then gets screened for. Frederick is late. Thomas is on point. He's balanced. He just doesn't make the 3.
My only question there would be drawing it up for Thomas, considering his struggles this evening.
Yeah, but you're talking about a guy that's 81% of his shots are threes. That's probably the guy that you have the most confidence in at the 3-point line. I just think that Lawrence as good as he's been, he needs a touch in that situation.
Kentucky right now listed as a 6th seed according to Joe Lunardi. A win tonight obviously helps along those lines, but the surge by Big Blue the last 2 weeks has the nation on notice, and they want that to continue here tonight.
Let me tell you why I love this timeout. I think coaches save too many timeouts. When your team needs one and you've worked so hard to catch up in this game, if you will, make sure everybody's on the same page on this possession.
And it's a big one. Tshiebwe on Malora Brown, who has the 4 fouls. Hands in the air. Good defense, better offense by the big man, Oscar Tshiebwe.
That's what they talked about in the timeout.
Cats have the lead for the first time since 1:36 was left in the first half. Shot clock quickly under 10. Jordan Wright lays it in. Tied at 66.
But I'm okay with that because I'm looking at the set. Wright's on one side of the floor, Lawrence is on the other. They're actually looking to play off each other.
10-second differential between the clocks. Reeves defended by Magnon. Off the screen, Antonio Reeves. Lawrence the rebound, the shot clock is off.
Last shot opportunity. I think he's going to let him play.
Jerry Stackhouse yelled at Magnon, play through. Time winding down. Jordan Wright for the lead. Yes! 2.6 to go.
What confidence that Jerry Stackhouse has in this makeshift lineup. The spin move by Wright, the fadeaway at the free throw line gives the Doors the lead on the road in Rupp on senior night.
His 23 points tonight, a season high.
So if you're Kentucky, I think the important thing is that you catch the ball going up the floor. You do not, with 2.6, you don't have enough time to catch the ball and kind of stand in the same spot. Or if you're Kentucky, you throw the ball deep because you have a size advantage in so many different positions.
Vanderbilt has not won in this arena since 2007. Overall in the series, the Commodores have lost 14 straight. Just 2-42 all-time inside of Rupp Arena. And forgive us, if you've tuned in to watch LSU and Missouri, we'll get you down to Baton Rouge. We got some business to take care of here first, and perhaps another upset in this crazy conference in 2023 brewing.
What does all this tell me tonight, Roy? How fun is the SEC tournament going to be?
Buckle up. Buckle up in Nashville. Kentucky's out of timeouts. They did add 0.1 second back on the clock, 2.7 to go.
I think to have a realistic chance, this ball, the pass inbounds, has got to come somewhere close to midcourt. If you're Vanderbilt, you don't want to get beat long, and you don't want to foul.
Toppin to inbound. He can run the baseline.
Look for Reeves to go from one side of the floor to the other, maybe.
Toppin's got to go. There's Reeves. Reeves with a good look for the win. No! Vanderbilt does it. The upset in Rupp on senior night.
We talked about earlier in the game a what-if scenario for Vanderbilt. Guess where it all started? It started with what if Vanderbilt comes into Kentucky and wins in Lexington. I love the play call. It's a pretty good look considering all things. A marvelous job by Vanderbilt and a good job by Magnon to get in front of Reeves without fouling.
68-66 the final. And Jerry Stackhouse finally with a smile and a sigh of relief. After leading the majority of the second half, the Cats came back, but it was Jordan Wright at the end. And the Doors secured the upset. For Mark Wise, I'm Roy Philpott. We say good night from Rupp Arena, and we say hello to our friends in Baton Rouge.